Okay, I know that you guys can hear this, but I also assume that it sounds like shit. So I'm going to work on this for a second. Apologies. I had full audio when I started, and now for some strange reason I don't. Insane. And I have no idea why I lost my mic. Um, hmm. Let me see if I can try and plug this bad boy in somewhere else. What in the world? I know you guys can hear me. We're working on this. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. Can I get my microphone back? That would be the ultimate dub if we can get this thing to work, but I can't get this thing in any way to recognize that it's plugged in. So I might just be SOL. Yes. I had operating audio the moment I got in here. And then the moment it got started, it just killed it. And I have absolutely no idea why. Test, test, test. Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to use the old AirPods. I can't figure it out anywhere. Alrighty, guys. Well, guess we're going AirPods today, unfortunately. So here we are, breaking it down. 2 game slate. Pacers, 8-point dogs in Cleveland, 229 total. Game one of this series. That's important because things are just immediately different when you get a situation where you're starting a new series. Now, we have the opposite situation for Golden State and Houston. Game seven. We've seen this one now a lot. What does that end up looking like? I don't know. We're going to break it all down right now. We're going to give it our best shot at the very least. So we'll figure it out from here and we'll break it all down. So hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. You guys know the drill. Help a brother out here. Yeah, it like really just doesn't know that my microphone is a microphone anymore. Boy, oh boy, that's annoying. All right, let's get it started. Let's talk Pacers. So, Pacers, big dogs here going to Cleveland. Admittedly, I'm of the opinion that the Pacers are better than what this line seems. You probably have it switched to paperweight mode. Common mistake. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Um, I like Indy in this series more than the data shows, and that is not something that I typically do. I'm obviously a big old data guy, but it's at least a little weird to me that it's eight. I've been a big believer in Indy in terms of like their personal data throughout the season. I obviously think Cleveland is better. Um, but at the same time, I'm intrigued by this series on the Pacers side. Now, from a DFS perspective, it, I don't really have much of a lean on Indy. You tend to reset series like this. So, whatever you saw at the end of the previous series, I don't think you see as much in this one. You find like your new matchups, your new nonsense. So I don't think that you're going to be getting like stupid minutes out of anybody from the Pacers in any sort of real way. You know, as I look at it, your highest owned guy is Halliburton at 36%. And then you get Nemhard, Neesmith, Siakam, and Turner all basically at 25. And then you get like 10 to 15 on the bench. And that's sort of exactly how I see the Pacers team right now. They look Halliburton looks a little bit better on FanDuel because he picks up the MPE. The starters are all just like a hair more owned. A little bit just has to do with the fact that there's just more ownership on FanDuel. The bench kind of looks the same. But like, I don't know. The Indy lineup this year, Halliburton, Nemhard, Neesmith, Siakam, Turner, I mean, they were plus 12.2 off, net rating on the year. And it's basically the same net rating if you swap out Neesmith for Matherin, which I find fascinating. Like, should they be getting more love? They have the same net rate. Here, let's see if I could do this. Did that work? Sort of. Look at this. So, right here, you have the two Pacers lineups. Starters with Neesmith plus 12.2. And then if you scroll down just a little tiny bit, we get to Cleveland. Garland, Mitchell, Struess, Mobley, Allen, plus 11.5. At least from a starter's perspective, we've gotten similar results in the regular season. What does that look like today? I don't know. S&P making a Ben Shepherd sell? Okay, I'll bite. I'll bite. Like I don't have anything like super crazy here. In and around the field on all of these guys. A little bit lighter on your Neesmiths, your Turners. A little bit more so here on your Nemhards or your Siakams. I don't know. I mean, as I look at it, clearly I'm happy to get to Halliburton, but I am under the field. You know, looking at exposures, looking at other pay up options, you've got Steph as your most expensive guy at 9,400. You've got Shingun as your second most expensive guy at 9,200. And then you get Halliburton, Mitchell, and Butler in the 8Ks. Now, Butler to me is the best guy in this entire group. Um, in terms of like actual pay up options, I think I like Curry more than I like Halliburton because of the fact that it's a slate that we can't really get away from for game seven. I think a game seven is a much different experience than trying to get into this situation where we're in a game one. You know, Steph Curry could just never leave the floor in theory. Not necessarily what I'm expecting, not how it's projected, but I'm just saying in theory that can be the case. Sorry, I'm trying to get that mic plugged back in, see if I can, if it just started working for reasons no one knows. Doesn't seem like it's happening, but try my best. Anywho, what do you guys like most from the Pacers today? That's kind of what I'm curious about. Where do you guys land on the Pacers? Indie covers, not sure about the Warriors, says Rants. Yeah, I can't see anything on the Pacers where I'm like, I want to have that guy way more than the field does. But I do like, look, I can say this right now. On my first run of everything that I have, I had I have less of the Indiana Pacers than I have of any other team. They're in 142% of my stuff. They're projected for 186% ownership. This is my biggest fade so far. And ownership in terms of the two games is dead even. 50-50 split. But I'm going light on the Pacers. I don't hate it. In my mind, I don't hate it. Being light on the bigger underdog road team heading into game one, like intuitively, I'm okay with that. You expect Cleveland to hold serve. If that's the case, you do expect like role players for the Pacers to be a little bit less interesting. Now, would that want me to get a little more Halliburton? Kinda, but then you start getting into like win territory. So as I look at the Pacers, this doesn't strike me as a team I'm going to have. I expect them to be my lowest owned team all day. That is my guess. But I just don't have like a preferred Pacer right now. Let's see if we have any odd shopper bets. Let's hop back over there. So right now we have nothing for Indy. We have six different bets for Cleveland, but nothing for Indy. But I guess the big takeaway here is that I just don't expect Indy to do anything weird. Like my anticipation is that they're going to be playing this one pretty straight. And you can see it from the minutes projections. Like we're not getting 38, 39, 40 in terms of median. I'm not saying that that can't happen. I'd be shocked if it did. But I got Halliburton sitting around 36, Siakam in that same sort of 33. I Indy's basically projected like a standard issue regular season game with like an extra minute to the starters, which is a very different vibe than Golden State and Houston. Now the Cleveland side, this is a spot where I think we can get into something a little bit weirder. Indy doesn't really have the bodies to change up their style. Cleveland, on the other hand, is giving us two giant question marks. One, Darius Garland is just simply questionable. So we don't even know if he's going to be playing. He's missed the past two. The second option for me now is I think this is at least to try a big series for Isaac Okoro. I think you're certainly going to see Isaac Okoro's minutes increase in this series compared to where they were in the last series because I think they're going to be trying to deploy Isaac Okoro onto Tyrese Halliburton more in this spot. I think Indy defensively makes that a little bit easier to put someone like Okoro out there a little bit longer. And I think they're going to be using him a little bit more in terms of just getting a defender out there on the guards on the front line or or in the backcourt rather. So what his impact is to the rest of these guys is where it starts to get weird. The relationship between Strus, Jerome, Merrill, Okoro, Wade I think this is more of an Okoro series and less of a Sam Merrill series. So I'm going to have my eye on Okoro in this first game, in game two, in game three. Shooting guard, small forward eligible, 3,100. Right now, not picking up anything. Um, but he is a guy that I see as the dude that could get the most from Cleveland today. If Garland's in, I'll happily play him. He's 25% owned. Um, the highest owned guy for Cleveland right now on the DraftKings end is Evan Mobley at 40%. 7,700 power forward center eligible, 43% optimal. To me, pretty clearly the best guy that you can get to from Cleveland because of the price, because of the position, really creates a lot of efficiency here. He's one of the best point per dollar plays on the slate. You don't think about it like that from $7,700 guys, but 5.2x, he's the third best point per dollar play on the day. So I think it becomes very easy to get to Evan Mobley. I do tend to think that this is a series that will periodically need Jared Allen less. I think this is a series that looks a little bit better with Mobley at the five and someone else at the four, probably Hunter. Um, because if you swap out Allen for, you move Mobley to the five, swap Allen for Hunter, you can get away with having Isaac Okoro at the three because you've got your spacing on the other four spots. You still got your rim protection in Evan Mobley, and you get a point of attack defender on the biggest problem on the Pacers side. So Jared Allen is, to me, in this series. I think he's going to end up looking a little like Rudy Gobert did in the Minnesota series, where, like, the minutes just don't seem right, and he's getting pinched for a minute every now and again. And then there's just going to be a game where Jared Allen just gets the time, plays the 32, crushes the boards, and you're just like left wondering why he didn't have him. But I do think this is less of a series for Allen and more of a series for Hunter slash Okoro. I'd be surprised if I get to Okoro here. But if you're playing DFS and you're trying to get to something you think can happen in game two that you think can start today, this could be the time where, like, it's a risk, clearly. But if we see Isaac Okoro play 22 minutes today at no ownership, he'll be like 25% owned in their next one if it's a two gamer or just chalk in a, what's the word I'm looking for? In like a showdown. There we go. So the rotation for Cleveland is the spot that I see that is live to have changes, so to speak. What do you guys like from the Cavs? Because, like, yeah, do I want to roster Donovan Mitchell today? Yeah, like, sure. But I don't think that he's a specific guy to me. Hunter is. Small forward, power forward eligible, 4,300 on DraftKings. Projected for 22 fantasy points, 30% optimal, 30% owned. I like the flexibility, and I think he's got a lot more minutes in him if they need them. Michael, he didn't. The Lakers ended their series. You really got to get over it, brother. It's pretty annoying. S&P, totally agree. Totally agree. I think this is something, and the outcome of game one matters. Like, if Cleveland plays it straight in game one and wins, then I expect them to play it relatively straight in game two. If they play it straight in game one and lose, then I expect one of those bench guys to have like 12 more minutes in game two. The the like flow chart of an NBA postseason is really fun in this scenario. Or it tells you, like, what does the first quarter look like? Is Halliburton hot early? Yeah, well, then you're about to get more defense later. Is he not? Well, then you're probably going to get more Struess and Merrill and Jerome. And I'm fine to get to Jerome for, your 20%. But I am going to be light on Jared Allen today. That is something that is coming out in the data and something I agree with. And I will pay very close attention to Isaac Okoro throughout the rest of the day. One thing to keep in mind, guys, I'm on projections tonight. So I will have projections for everything. I'm also on Live Before Lock with Eric at 5 o'clock before this Cleveland Indy game. And the last time that I was on projections, which was Friday, skipped the showdown. So, feeling pretty good today. What's the FanDuel ownership for McConnell? I got you, Tyler. 16%. 4,300 point guard only. 15% optimal. 15% out. He's just a guy. Just a guy. Not a great series for him, I don't think. But I would I would imagine this is a tough spot. This is not a TJ McConnell series to me. He's a guy that I would like to be light on for most of this series, barring heavy, heavy salary changes. Because TJ McConnell is little, and he's not a great rim finisher. And when you're going up against the second best rim defending team, I think this is a like pretty bad series for TJ McConnell. Humble, is that a coffee maker? Do I know why Dylan Brooks only played 18 minutes? Foul trouble and Steven Adams. NYC Power says Benedict Mathurin could be a play for game one. I mean, he has been dreadful in these playoffs. So if he is, it's coming out of nowhere. Look at that. Look at his EPM since mid March. Just fell off a cliff. Now, usage is still there. They're giving him the ball. However, rolling true shooting over the past month and a half for Benedict Mathurin, a crisp 50%. Not a guy for me. He's not a guy for me. I mean, like, I'm going to have a little bit of him for sure, but I'm under the floor or under the field. Obi Toppin, stretch big. I guess. Not a guy I typically love in this series because of how bad he is defensively. That's sort of the problem. They got a lot of one way players. Yeah, as I'm looking at the Pacers right now, I think Nemhard's going to be my guy. I think Siakam's going to be my guy on the Pacers side. On the Cleveland end, a lot of Hunter, a lot of Mobley, a lot of Mitchell. If Garland is out, I do expect Okoro to start over Merrill. Um, but you never know. And it's the 6 o'clock game, so we'll figure this one out. But there's not much here. I mean, like even Sam Merrill off the bench is only getting 4% ownership. So the bench is tough for Cleveland. Bench is tough. And then we still have to talk about Darius Garland. Like, obviously, Garland hasn't played. My guess is he could have played if it mattered, but since it didn't, they had no incentive to care. So I expect them to play him, let him get his sea legs back. Hopefully they pick up the win and then they feel great, is what I'm guessing Cleveland's looking at. All right, hit that like button, guys, if you haven't done it yet. Let's take a look at Odd Shopper. We've got Evan Mobley, under 17.5 points on NoVig, 5.9% EV. We got Siakam under 2.5 assists with a 3.7% EV on BetMGM. And we've got Ty Jerome on FanDuel under 3.5 assists, 2.8% EV. Now, the Cleveland Indy game is one path for today, a game one second round series. Then we get to the late night hammer, 8:30 tip off, Golden State, Houston, game seven. We got the game seven yesterday, ass beating. Nuggets beat the piss out of the Clippers. Now we're here, and I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a great feeling for what the hell happens in this game. I'm I don't trust either side. I'm not entirely confident in the rotations in a game seven because you kind of just try to do whatever you can in that particular moment. Um, I can say this. It appears like Jimmy Butler's your number one play on the DraftKings side. He's 8,400, only power forward eligible, which is like pretty annoying. However, 8,400, I'm expecting him to play 41, 42, 43, 40 all minutes in this spot. 57% optimal, 54% owned. He's in 83% of my stuff. Is it something that I want? A little? But I don't have anybody in my lineups more than Jimmy Butler. To me, pretty clearly the top dude for today. The next highest owned guy from Golden State on the DraftKings end is Curry at 9,400. Got him in for about 41 minutes. Um, Happy to get to him. 35% optimal, 35% owned. He's in 43% of my stuff. I really like Butler and I really like Curry here. And if I really like Butler and I really like Curry, it feels like I should really like Golden State. I do think Golden State is underrepresented in the betting market. I just don't trust this spot. I really don't. I think they're very live to change their starting lineup. Whether that's Gary Payton, whether that's Buddy Hield, does Pajemski come back in? Do they try to go to post? Does Kaminga play today? Like all options for these teams are on the table in an elimination game like this. Draymond's a guy that scares me. Yeah, he seems like he's been extra special irritated through every single second of the game. I tweeted it on Friday. I thought that the moment that he got all testy in the first 2 minutes of the game, if I'm Houston, I'm putting people in there to try to get him the gate. Um, that said, it's Draymond Green in a game seven, and these guys have been there before. It's not like the moment's going to be too big for them. Would you be surprised at all if Draymond had 10, 10, and 10 today? No, I certainly wouldn't. I mean, he's been dog shit for a while now. He can't make anything. The usage is gone. The assists are like everything's down. But at the same time, it wouldn't shock me at all if he put up one of those like ugly triple doubles. If Pods is off the bench again, 5,700, 20% optimal, 20% owned seems fine. I would not be surprised at all to see him go back into the starting lineup. I think Moses Moody is live to pick up some of the playing time from Gary Payton or Buddy Hield. Shooting guard, small forward eligible, 3,600, really good flexibility. I am over the field on Moody. I think he's been playing his way into more minutes for this series as it goes on. Post is obviously a wild card. Like, are the threes falling? Great. They might have him out there a little bit. They also used him as the designated Steven Adams fouler last time. So I don't know. Buddy Hield is a guy that scares the hell out of me. Hasn't looked good. They haven't tried to play him a lot, but Buddy Hield is also a guy that could drop a couple threes and all of a sudden he's just out there. Very Gary Trenty. Peyton's a guy, but I'm scared of. The price tag makes it so that you feel a lot better. 3,300 guard forward. I don't think that they like what they're getting out of him. It doesn't seem like he can stop Fred Van Vliet, which is like the whole reason you're out there. And they don't guard him defensively. So I don't know what they're going to be doing with Peyton here. I want to take pretty sizable stands on Curry. on Butler and on Moody. Now, on the FanDuel side, Butler's your number one guy, 70% owned. Curry's your number two guy, 60% owned. Draymond is at 40, and then you get a couple guys in the 20s. But whether it's DraftKings or FanDuel, it's Butler and Curry, which I guess technically makes me like Golden State a little bit more than I like Houston. I have more Golden State than I do of any other team, which looks good to me. Why is that not showing up? Whatever. By the way, Joe Hold'em, I don't know if you heard it before, but yes, I am on projections. Ant taking out Golden State on his way to the title will be poetic. What, in like 2028? Um, yeah, I mean, look, Buddy Hield's pulling 9% ownership. I'm under it. It's Curry, it's Butler, it's Moody. Now, from a bets perspective, nothing from Golden State right now. And don't forget, guys, you can sign up and get the Portfolio EV tool in two different ways. One, if you've never signed up before, you can just always get a 7-day free trial. There's a link in the description of this video. You just click that link. 7-day free trial, no questions asked. If you want to dive in a little bit bigger, you can sign up at Underdog, Sleeper, Better, one of the sports books. There's a link in the description for it. If you sign up through one of our affiliates, meet their deposit, whatever you got to do, it could be like deposit $25 and get a 100% deposit match bonus. We'll give you a month of Portfolio EV for free. You won't pay us a cent. You'll take a market-based approach to beating the books. You'll be able to look at odd shopper rating, expected value, shop around across the books, odds boost calculators, parlay builders, mass betting, and more. So if you want a month, all you have to do is click the link in the description, sign up through one of our affiliates. If you want a week, you can get that at any time through the link in the description. All right, let's finish it off with Houston. Rockets are the favorites here. They're at home. Your highest owned guy is 50% ownership to Amin Thompson right now. 6,600 guard forward eligibility. Has been looking a little bit better to me in the series. Like, obviously, he can't shoot. They're not going to guard him. They don't care what he does. He's finding himself into the paint a little bit more. He's not finding as much resistance. And if he can get to the rim, his shooting stops mattering as much. Because if he can beat that first line of defense, then it doesn't matter if they're covering him anymore. That said, I am under the field on Amin Thompson. Game 7 guy that can't shoot. I'm okay with that if he's going to be the chalk guy. I'm over on Van Vliet. They haven't really figured out how to stop him. And apparently it's not Gary Payton. I hope they don't crack the code today. I think Fred Van Vliet's live for never leaving the floor. 36% optimal, 30% owned. He's in 56% of my stuff. I'm going to Fred Van Vliet. I'm light on Jalen Green. His usage has fallen like 8 percentage points in this series. So whatever you picture for Jalen Green, he's kind of not that guy right now. Look at this. April 6th, we're looking at a Jalen Green that had been at like a 28% usage rate for basically the whole season. It's gone. It's gone. It fall off a cliff. Throughout the whole playoffs, we're talking like 22, 21%. Could it be higher today? Of course. Do I think that it's going to be? Not really. But let's talk Steven Adams. 3,800, center only, the hero of game 6. Played 30 minutes. I got him in for 23 right now. 29% owned. He's in 90% of my stuff. Am I scared of the Steven Adams matchup today? Of course. Of course. It doesn't have to run perfect like it did last time. He's become a real issue on the boards. His box outs, I mean, he is just clearing out the paint for everybody else. Just wiping them out. I'm going to end up having a ton of Adams. But paying attention to his ownership is going to be very important throughout the day because he could just as easily play 18 minutes. Steven Adams can go out there, miss 6 straight free throws, pick up 2 fouls, moving a little slow on a rotation, and then you're getting more of Jabari Smith or Tari Eason. Very happy to get to Şengün. I love this series for him. He just doesn't meet a lot of resistance on the opposite side. 9,200, center only, great pay up option. Yeah, monster double double threat in 35% of my stuff. Don't have much of Jabari or Tari Eason. Both of those guys scare me, but if I'm going to have a ton of Steven Adams, then I don't need much of Smith and Eason. If I'm not going to have as much of Adams, then I probably want one of those two guys. And then for Dylan Brooks, I don't have a ton. I wouldn't mind it. I'm not going to read into the minutes too much. He's just going to be himself. If he gets in foul trouble, they have options, so it doesn't matter. If he doesn't, then he's just going to be out there. Also live to get thrown out. FanDuel side for Houston, 55% ownership coming into Amon Thompson. He's the number one guy. Scary. 40 more for Van Vliet, which I really like. 30 more for Şengün, which I really like. Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks feel a little high here. Dylan Brooks in particular, 19% optimal on FanDuel, 25% owned. Adams is a very different play on FanDuel because you only play one center, but 4,400, 15% owned. Like, you want to pay down for Adams at center, you're not going to have much issue getting to your Evan Mobleys, your Donovan Mitchells, your Halliburtons, your Currys. And then, I mean, if there's a single person in the world comfortable with figuring out if it's Jabari Smith or Tari Eason in this series, good luck with it, man. Because I don't have a clue. All right, we're going to build the DraftKings lineup. We're going to build a FanDuel lineup. And then we're going to get out of here. So here we go. Let's move that camera. Make me a little bigger. All right, here we go. Large contest. 35% to first. Hit the like button if you haven't done it yet. All right. Adams, Hunter, Van Vliet, Moses Moody, Gary Payton. Complete the lineup and get Curry, Butler, and Mobley, I guess. That leaves 2,800 on the table. Yo, this lineup's going to blow. I know this is going to blow. I'm running it anyway just to see how negative it is, but we have so much. We have 2,800 left over. I can upgrade this very easily. I took all the good value first. Yeah, negative 60. This is going to be a very easy fix, actually. So naturally, Gary Payton's the first guy to go out of there. We take Steph out of utility. We move Steph back up to the guard spot. Pop him in. And then where can I actually upgrade? I want to keep Moody. Kind of want to get Butler out of there. Gives me Butler, Draymond. I need somebody other than Butler. So Butler's at 84. I'm going to take Donovan Mitchell and Aaron Nesmith. Let's see how that looks. 12. Okay. Nesmith gone. Mitchell gone. Who's the other guy I got to get rid of? Let me take Curry out of there. What happens if I pop Garland there? Then it gets me Curry and Siakam. I actually think this is going to be the best one. 38? 38's the call. 38-2. 45-3. We'll take that one. We'll take that one. Let's bounce it over to the FanDuel side now, which I anticipate being a bit easier. Can't take Adams. Or can I? All right, let's see what it looks like. We'll take Van Vliet. We'll take Jimmy Butler. We'll take Amon. No, we'll take Draymond. We'll take Evan Mobley. Need a shooting guard. And we'll take Moses Moody. Complete it with Curry, Nemhard, and Amon Thompson. Positive. Give me the positive. 44 point. Oh, I almost had it too. I didn't notice it, I swear. 45.6. Curry, Van Vliet, Nemhard, Moody, Butler, Thompson, Mobley, Green, Steven Adams. Ew. All righty, folks. End of the line. Two gamer here. Here's the schedule for the rest of the day. I will be on live before lock later today, 5 p.m. Myself and Eric breaking down this two gamer. You don't want to miss it. We got a lot to talk about today. And we might have some changes to the schedule potentially. At 12:30 p.m., EMAC and Bellman are doing MLB Live before lock. Don't miss that. I think Matt Bellman's up like $1 billion in this baseball season. Every time I look at Twitter, Matt Bellman won $20,000 or more. He's killing it. He's killing it. So make sure you're watching EMAC and Bellman at 12:30. Guys, thank you for being here. I appreciate having you. This was fun. I hope you guys have a great Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm going to go watch Liverpool get a guard of honor from Chelsea in 45 minutes as the champs of the Premier League. Enjoy yourselves. I'll see you at 5.